Hello from my kitchen. We're gonna do class in here today because the lighting was just too pretty not to. Gotta love a really cold but really sunny winter day. This will be a quick mat class. We're gonna focus on core work for most of it, a little bit of upper body. Some props if you have them, our mini stability ball, which I love and keep using in all my classes, so you can get them on Amazon, and light handheld weights if you have them. Okay, but to start, you can play some music. If not, we'll just meet lying down on your back. So get in your little sun spot at home or wherever you have some space to move today. Lie down and we'll get started. Once you lie down, just get comfortable on your back. Notice if it's not comfortable today, and you can start seated. Wherever you land, try to find stillness just for a few breaths. Using these opening breaths to arrive on your mat. Get present in your body. And set yourself up for a good class. Tuning out any distractions around you and within you. There's nothing that you need to do in the next 30 minutes other than move and breathe on your mat. So set aside your to-dos, what happened before class, what you might have to do after, and just use your breath to stay present in this moment. Big inhale through the nose, fill your belly, your ribs, your chest up, and then sigh out through your mouth. Let's do one more like that. As you inhale, feel your torso start to move with your breath, and then pause at the top of your inhale. And then exhale, let everything go. Feel your torso fall. Good, bring some energy to your body. Point your fingers, point your toes, circle out your wrists, maybe circle your head side to side. Good, and then slowly walk your feet in. Give yourself a nice big hug. See how it feels to start to press your spine down into the mat. And then really gentle rock side to side. Good, just starting to pay attention to where your back meets the mat. So just noticing how it feels today. We're gonna spend a bit of time on our back. So right away, if it's not feeling good today, maybe this isn't the class you do, or you just modify to make sure that there's no tension building where you don't need it. Okay, so a few more gentle rocks, just getting used to how the back feels. And then find stillness. Release your grip, keep your knees bent, but bring the knees right over the hip bones. Squeeze the inner thighs together and then bend your knees to just about a 90. Perfect. So without moving at all here, I want you to start to activate your core. As you squeeze the inner thighs together, can you think about hugging the low belly down and in? Almost like you're holding in a P, everything's squeezing down there. Picture your rib cage, get it closer to your spine. Think about everything wrapping in. And then just notice if by doing that you started to hold your breath. See if you can take that big inhale again. Exhale, keep it in your nose this time. Good, we're gonna keep breathing like that. So just find that containment in your core. Find some space in your chest, shoulders down away from your ears. Good, now once you found that activation, sometimes it's hard, and if it's not happening right away yet, I want you to bring your hands to the tops of your thighs, pretty much right in between the knee and the hip, and then push your hands into your thighs. Resist your thighs back and towards your hands. And just push, just keep pushing and resisting. Don't lose that squeeze between the inner thighs. And don't lose any sort of space in your neck and your chest. Stay long. Okay, still without any movement, you should feel a lot more fire starting to build right here. Can you make sure the breath is still big? And if you're not feeling anything, just push more. This is all you. Might not look like much, but should feel like something. Okay, so we're gonna start to move here. We'll start by keeping the legs bent. Left side stays as it is. Right toes are gonna tap down. Right hand just reaches up towards your ceiling. And then come back through center, reconnect on the right side, push. And then left toes tap down, left hand up. I want you to move super, super slow here. Start to feel the weight of the leg come away from you so that you have to use your lower abs to pull the weight of the leg back. Knee stops just over your hip. Start to link your breath. Inhale, reach. Exhale, reconnect. Right here, noticing that work. You don't need props to create resistance in your body. You don't need added weight or resistance bands. So just see what happens within your own body. And you can always take options like this when someone else is offering you something with weights or with bands. Just use your own body weight. This is our last one on the left. Come back through center. Squeeze the inner thighs again. And then option to peel your head, neck, and shoulders up off the mat. Come into a little crunch. Maybe you're shaking a little bit like me. It's okay, keep breathing. Keep pushing. For 3, for 2, for 1. Let the head rest. Relax the feet down to your mat. Maybe windshield wiper slowly to one side and then slowly to the other. Being mindful of what is around you. All right, so the front line of the body is on. It's activated. Let's light up the back side. So walk your heels pretty close to your bum. Reach the arms down alongside your body. Squeeze your seat. Keep the front line engaged and just lift up into your bridge. One long line from knees to shoulders. Chest is still broad. There's still space in your neck to breathe. Okay, so all that energy we just built up on the front line of the body, don't let it go. Keep that contained. And just start to find that same sort of energy on the back line. Can you dig your heels down? Toes are nice and light. And then think about dragging your heels in towards your bum, like you're gonna kick your seat. Good, lengthen the low back a little bit longer and try to engage just the base of your glutes, where your hamstrings meet your seat as you pull the heels in towards you. Good, lift the hips a tiny bit higher. And then we'll just move big here. Lower the hips to a hover, nice and slow. And then lift back up to the top of your range. Starting slow, just like we did in those toe taps. So that your body really gets used to this movement. Again, we're really just using this quick warm-up to activate the muscles, connect to our breath, and just make sure the body is feeling good today. Noticing any sort of kinks that might have built up in your day, in your sleep. So you can be mindful of them as we start to add some resistance, move a little faster, do some other options. You can always come back to a slower movement, a bigger movement, if that helps you stay connected to your breath and feel more connected to the muscles. Let's just do 2 more. Inhale to lower, exhale to lift, not releasing that seat squeeze at the bottom. The next time you lift up, just hold at the top. If it feels okay here, I want you to reach your arms up towards the ceiling. Walk your shoulder blades away from each other, and then maybe come up on your toes. See if that gives you space to lift the hips a tiny bit higher. And just take a big breath in here. Can you think about toes now dragging in towards your bum? And exhale, slowly release down. This time extend your arms, your legs long, like you're just waking up. Your good morning stretch. Reach, inhale. Release, exhale. One more like that. Reach, inhale. And release, exhale. All right, give yourself that hug again. We're gonna rock up and down our spine a few times. You can do it more if it feels good. And then we'll find our props and come back down. All right, so if you have one of these, great, grab it. If you don't, a yoga block or a couch cushion, a small one will do. And then find your weights. Bring one on either side of your mat, close to where your arms are gonna be when you lie back down. If you have this little prop in between the inner thighs, give it a nice big squeeze, and then we'll roll down. All right. Once you get here, again, make sure the back feels good. Hair's out of the way. And then feet are gonna start planted. Whether or not you have something in between your inner thighs, you're gonna squeeze. So maybe the legs are zipped, maybe there's something in between and you're giving it a big squeeze, helping to light up the lower belly. Find your weights if you've got them. Be really mindful of how you pick them up if they're a little bit heavier. And then hands come right over your chest. Okay, staying still to start. Can you squeeze the inner thighs a little bit more? Find length in the low back. Rib cage hanging in on the front line of the body. Okay, all we're gonna do to start is an alternating chest press. So my right hand's going to stay right here. My left elbow is going to come out to the side. Hand stacks over elbow, and then press back up. Switch sides. Be mindful of what is around you. Inhale as you lower. Exhale as you lift. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. All right, just a little bit of work that we're gonna bring into the lower body to activate the core a bit more. So, legs stay as the elbow lowers. As you press back up to the ceiling, can you squeeze the ball? Release as the elbow lowers. Squeeze as you press back up. Take a few reps here. If you have a yoga block, it might be a little too hard to do this, but if you have a couch cushion, this should work pretty well. Release as you lower, squeeze as you lift. Now, if you feel really sturdy here, like when the elbow comes to the side, you're not rolling to that side. Option to add on, hold your next squeeze, lift your knees back to tabletop where we started in our warm-up. Legs are gonna stay right here, same thing, release the squeeze as the elbow comes down, squeeze the inner thighs as the arm pushes up. Inhale and exhale. Knees are just over top of your hips. Sometimes when we get tired, the knees like to come closer to your chest. Can you stay stacked here? And maybe your weights are light and you're not feeling this a lot in your chest. If that's the case, palms turn towards each other, elbows come out to the side. I don't have enough space on my right, so here's my left arm coming out to the side and then hugging a big beach ball on top, and you can alternate that way if you'd like. We just have 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come back through center. If your feet are still planted, lift them up here. We're gonna flex the ankles, toes reach towards the ceiling. Again, notice if your knees have come really close to your chest, stack them. And then turn your palms to face each other. Legs staying still again to start. Just do 1 with the upper body. Arms are gonna come up overhead to a 45, no further. Think about ribs hugging in, and then bring your hands back up over your chest. Okay, so option for the legs, they're gonna extend long, and then everything comes back in. Being really mindful of how this feels on your lower back. Feet can stay down. You can just do the arms. I'll focus a little bit more on the upper abs. You're more than welcome to get rid of the prop that's in between your thighs. Might feel better in between the ankles. And you can always ditch your weights. You don't need that extra resistance. Again, your body weight can often be quite enough. And if you have no props in between your feet, I just want you to pretend you have one big leg. Squeezing your thighs together, everything moves as one. We just have 4 here. Notice if you started to go a little bit faster, can you slow it down for these last few sets? Like you're moving through something really sticky. Stacy from TUIC always likes to say, imagine you're stuck in a big jar of peanut butter and you have to move through that stickiness. There's really no chance to go fast there. Last full one. Whether or not you've still got your props, just own where you're at, and we'll find somewhere to hold. So extend long, find an angle that works, 45 or higher to your ceiling. Hold for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Gently plant your feet down, release your weights, get rid of the ball if you have it, give yourself that nice big hug again. We'll take a few rocks up into the spine. Release, notice if you got any tension that you need to let go. My floor is so squeaky. Okay, another one for the ball, but I'll give you an option if you don't have it. If you do have it, it comes in between your shoulder blades. Try not to let it come any lower, that just like won't feel good for your back. So in between the shoulder blades, and then just lean back. Once you get here, you have this nice elevation so your heart is higher than your hips. It kind of just helps you stay higher in a crunch. Few options if you don't have the ball. You can stay on that same angle by bringing your forearms right underneath you so your elbows are pretty much under your shoulders on that same angle. Or you can come all the way down onto your back, hands behind the head, and hold a crunch. Okay, so a few options. Do what works best for you based on your props and based on how your body's feeling. Ooh, whenever you're set up, lift your gaze so you're looking at where your wall meets your ceiling. So just notice if right away you want to look down towards your belly or all the way up towards the ceiling. Try to keep a long spine with energy shooting out the crown of your head and your gaze neutral, which probably means where the wall meets the ceiling. Good. So inhaling here, get a little brighter in your chest. Your elbows are just in your peripheral. And then exhale, can you knit the ribs back together? All right, we're gonna find a slow crunch. I'll show you a few options depending on your props. So if you're up on your ball, On your inhale, you're looking up towards the ceiling without letting the ribs flare. And on your exhale, you're lifting up away from the ball, looking just above your knees. Inhale, look up towards the ceiling. Don't release your core. Exhale, lift up. I love doing these crunches up on the ball. Just gives you a little bit more space to move. Your head doesn't feel so heavy, but I know we don't all have these. So if you're lying flat on your back, pretty simple, regular crunches. If you're on your forearms, this will obviously not really work to do crunches. So I want you to start by marching. Okay, work the lower belly a little bit more. Getting used to whatever option you're in. I'm gonna stick with the ball for the rest of this, but just modify as you need. And if you are up on your elbows, don't worry, we're all gonna start marching soon. Do 2 more crunches if you're doing them. And just notice if the low belly wants to tent up. See if you can think about space in between your hip bones, belly button getting closer to spine. The next time you crunch up, hold. On your feet, see if you can lift your heels. Tiptoe your feet further away from you and get lighter on them. Try not to really push into the floor like we did in our bridge. And then you're gonna lift the right knee up, just to tabletop again, knee over hip. As the toes lower, you look back up towards the ceiling. And then as you lift up, the next time your left knee lifts. Okay, so find an alternating march with your crunch. If you're on your forearms, you are still marching. If you're down on your back, it'll look exactly like this, just without the ball. Making sure you're using your breath. Inhale as you look up. Exhale. Strong push of breath out of your mouth or out of your nose. Honestly, whatever helps you connect to your breath more. 1 more each side. Can you get longer in your neck? Drop your shoulders away from your ears. Notice if the elbows are crunching in towards the face. Create more space. Good. Keep both feet down. Lift back up into your crunch and just hold. See if you can get lighter in your toes and then maybe bring both knees up towards tabletop. If your head feels supported enough, reach your arms long. And then again, notice if your chin is coming towards your chest, look up above your knees. We're just holding for 4, 3. Can you come up a little bit taller? 2. Inhale on 1. Exhale, just plant your feet. Let your head go. If you're on the ball, you can round over it. If you're on your back, just lie flat. Arms maybe come up overhead. This should feel good. Big breath in. And release. Okay, roll off your ball. If you were on it, give yourself that big hug again, and we'll rock up and down our spine. Okay, grab a sip of water if you need it. You can get all of your props out of the way, and we'll meet down on the right side of our bodies. So just swing your legs around. You're gonna lie completely down on your side. Use your right arm up underneath your ear like a pillow. Left hand can come out in front of you for a little extra support. And just make sure that you can keep your body in one long line. So if you need to adjust on your mat so you've got space, go for it. Okay, and then once you're here, make sure your hips are stacked. Sometimes the top hip wants to roll back. If your bottom hip is really bugging you and digging into the floor, you can bring a towel there, maybe extra fold your mat. And then just point the left toe, start to lift the left leg up. Doesn't have to be really, really high. Let's stick with that 45-degree angle. So lift it up, keep it internally rotated. So if you flex your foot, pinky toe is pointing forward, and then lower the leg down. Just hover it above the right ankle when you get to the bottom. And that's all we'll do to start. Lift and then lower. Good. So I did say this is a class that is going to focus on core. That opening sequence, we really lit up the front line of our core. But your core is actually like your entire trunk. So we're going to do a little bit of the side, a little bit of the back. So right here, I want you to notice your obliques starting to light up. On the top side of your body, your left side here, especially as the leg lifts. But also on your right side, think about right ribs pulling up away from the floor, almost like you're in a side plank. And then all that energy in your center will keep you from rocking forward and back. Okay, let's do 2 more. Can you reach more energy out of your heel? Last one, hold it at the top. Good, and then see if you can flex your bottom foot, bring more energy to this right leg that hasn't moved yet, and can you lift it up to meet your left? It's okay if they don't meet, just lower the top leg so that they do meet. Okay, and then legs lower together, and then legs lift together. The range of motion is probably going to be a lot smaller, that's okay. Check back in with your bottom hip, make sure it's not digging in too much. Good. And then find that one big leg I was talking about before. If you want your ball back in between the ankles or thighs, go for it, grab it. Whatever helps you think about inner thighs squeezing towards one another. We have 4 like this. Keep your core strong. Keep your breath connected. 3, 2. We're gonna hold both legs up on one, so lift and hold. Lift your left leg back up nice and high, and then plant your left toes out in front of you. Okay, so my right leg is still lifted, not super high, that's okay. We're gonna lower and lift just the right leg. Lower it down, and then lift. Again, range of motion here will probably be pretty small. You'll feel a lot more work on the inner right thigh. And then if the left foot in front just kind of like throws everything off, bring your left foot behind you instead. Just notice that that doesn't make you like roll onto your back. And then however you have this left leg, notice if the right leg is coming out in front of you to lift higher. Your body is still in this one really long line. Yes. Core is still engaged. We have 4. Feel that inner thigh burn and breathe into it. 3, 2, hold on 1, bring the left leg back towards it. Lower everything down, stay right here, just take a breather. If you need to like shake out the legs, shake them out. And then you're gonna tent the right hand. I don't think it's in my frame, but your right fingertips are tenting on the floor above you. And then bend your elbows so your hands are a little bit closer to you. Now we're gonna lift everything up. So find your left side body, hug the core in, and then you're gonna lift, and then you're gonna lower. Good. Inhale to lift, exhale to lower, or the other way around. You can exhale to lift, inhale to lower, whatever connects more to you. For 4, don't stick your bum out, stay in that long line. 3, 2, you're gonna hold everything up on 1, hold for 4. Squeeze the inner thighs. 3, 2, 1. Release. Last little bit on this side. Push into your left hand. Bring yourself up so you're on your forearm, and we'll meet up in your side plank. Lift your hips. Lift that top hand and just hold. Can you come back to that inner thigh squeeze and use it instead to think about lifting your right hip up even higher. So your right leg is pushing up into your left so that you have more support for your hips. Can you pull up out of your right shoulder? Maybe that top leg wants to lift up. Maybe not, that's okay. Wherever you are, just breathe for 4, 3, 2, 1. Gently come all the way down. Amazing. Swing your legs out in front of you and come over to the other side. If you need to do anything to release in between sides, go for it. And then again, we're lying all the way down. Make sure your body's in this nice, really long line. Right hand this time comes out in front of you to bring a little extra support if you feel like you're gonna rock forward. Starting with just your top leg. Right leg reaches up and lowers down. Good. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. Noticing what happens on side 2. Maybe this bottom hip is bonier, it is sticking into the floor. Maybe your top leg really wants to open up towards the ceiling. Can you keep that internal rotation? And maybe the leg doesn't lift as high, that's okay. If you're having a hard time connecting to this leg lift, if it just feels like you're moving through air and there's no resistance, there's no engagement, you can bring your hand to your thigh, push down, find that sort of extra bit of push with your own body. As soon as you lift this hand, it's a lot wobblier. You can also bring a weight to your mid-thigh. That'll help too. Well, once you've found a way to connect to this movement, can you bring your awareness back to your core? Sometimes the belly likes to really flop here, the rib cage likes to open. Stay long through your spine and then contained through the front line of the body. Can you think about the left rib cage lifting up away from the floor? It doesn't have to actually lift, but just think about that feeling. Since you know that eventually we're coming to the side plank, it's kind of like we're already there. Good, last 2. Last one, hold up at the top. Can you keep this leg nice and high and then lift your left leg up to meet it? Maybe it doesn't meet, that's okay. Bring the top leg down and then lower and lift both legs together. So lower down for 2 counts, lift up for 2 counts. Notice if you've started to move quickly, can you slow this down? Good, make sure you're breathing with your movement and that you're staying connected to this moment. When we repeat a lot of reps of doing the same thing, that's when it's really easy for your mind to wander. Remember how we checked in at the beginning of class to stay present in our body through our breath, not worry about anything other than this moment. Good. 4 here. Notice if your bum is starting to stick out behind you, your body is in that one long line. Gentle press of your hips forward if that's happening. Good, the next time your legs lift, hold. Start to lift the right leg up and then tap your foot in front of you. If that's super awkward, right foot can come behind you. Just make sure the hips can stay as stacked as possible. Bottom leg lifts up, drops down, lifts up, drops down. Finding that inner thigh burn. Good, just playing around with this side. You might have to put your foot somewhere different than you did on the other side, depending on how the hips feel here. Suddenly your leg feels like it's so heavy and you can't lift it. That's where it helps to point or flex your foot. Bring energy all the way through to the tips of your toes so that everything is on, everything is working. Good, it's not just dead weight moving through space. Good, last 2. Stay with me, last one, make it count. Good, and then lift it back up, bring your right leg to meet it. Lower the legs down, take a tiny moment of release. Tense your fingertips, make sure you have enough space. And then we'll lift everything up, we'll just do 8. Okay, so really squeeze the inner thighs to start, point your toes. Make sure your hips, shoulders, heels are in line. And then we lift up, and then we lower. This is where you might feel like a little bit of a fish out of water. I want you to find as much control in your body, less flopping around on your side. This is one of those core sequences that actually makes me feel so sore the next day. I love it for that reason. I stopped counting, so I feel like we have 2 more. Let's lift up and hold on the next one. Hold for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release. We are not quite done. Push yourself up so you're on your left forearm. Adjust as you need, and then lift up into your side plank. Holding here. You can look up towards the ceiling. You can lift that right hand. Maybe your right hand comes to your hips. Maybe you need a little more support and you bring that bottom knee down. Whatever works for you in this moment, just stay with me. Maybe you lift that top leg. Can your hips come a tiny bit higher? For 4, 3, 2, inhale on 1, exhale. Big release, good work. Give those legs a little shake out in front of you. If you'd like, inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. Drop your head, shake it out. Maybe give your shoulders a little roll if you need it. Okay. Oh my gosh, it's already been 30 minutes. Okay, we'll do a tiny bit more core work and then we're done. Release your head, roll up. Give your legs a little shake. Okay, grab your weights and your ball, if you have them. If not, no worries. Okay, so what I love doing with the ball in upright core work is wedging it right behind my back. It's like a doorstop. And if you have any lower back pain that normally creeps up when you're doing core work, it's a great option. If not, just sit up nice and tall, grab your weights, one in each hand, cross them at your heart. If you have a heavier set and want to just hold one weight, go for it. Sit up nice and tall, get on the bony parts of your bum, and then lean back. If you do have this ball behind you, it's really nice. You can almost think about pressing your low back into it while keeping everything really long. Okay, all we're gonna do to start, get light on your toes again, maybe the heels lift, squeeze the inner thighs, kind of where we were before on our backs. We're just upright. We're gonna do Russian twists without twisting the shoulders. So your weights come to your left hip, they come back to your chest, and then your weights come to your right hip, back to your chest. Especially if you're used to doing like classic Russian twists, it's gonna be so tempting to move fast and to move your whole upper body and shift your weight from hip to hip. Forget all of that. Try to go against your muscle memory. Keep everything really, really still, really sturdy, and just move your weights. Okay, so your gaze can come back, maybe where your wall meets your ceiling again, maybe a little lower, depending on how far you're leaning back. And you are just moving the weights from your center line to your hip. Nothing else is shifting. You'll feel the resistance shift, and by not twisting, by keeping everything square, you're actually working the obliques on that same side of the body. Good. After your first few reps, notice if you started to round in the lower back, your chin is starting to tuck towards your chest. Can you get taller? Get brighter in your chest. Maybe that means you sit up taller. That's okay. And then notice if your hip flexors are getting really chatty right now, if they're telling you that they don't love this. Squeezing the inner thighs together more helps, but maybe you want to extend the legs. It's a good place to be. All right. If this feels good and you know that you want more and you can keep steady through your breath and your hips, the next time your weights come to the right, your left leg extends long, and then you come back through center. So just gently glide the opposite heel along your mat until the leg is straight. And then using your lower abs, you're pulling that knee back in, same as we did when we were flat on our backs. You're using the strength in your lower abs to move the weight of your leg. Good, now if here feels great and you want a little bit more, as the knee pulls in, you're gonna sit up a little bit taller, so get your chest closer to your knees. And then as the weights move and the leg moves, you're gonna hinge back a little bit further. This is where I love having the help of the ball. I can push my low back into the ball, squeeze my belly closer to the ball. But as always, you don't need props. If your neck starts to feel a lot of tension, you can ditch the weights. If you were holding onto 2, you can let go and just hold onto 1. We have 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come up through center. Get rid of all your props, but keep your body where it is. So get rid of that ball if you had it. Put your weights down. Stay in this exact same shape once you've gotten rid of your props, and then reach your arms forward. Plug the shoulders down away from your ears. Good. Can you reconnect to your core? Remember when we were just lying on our backs? Come there. Ribcage knits in, belly button pulls down, and then just start to lean back. Good. Once you found about a 45-degree angle again in your upper body, hands come to thighs, right where we started class. This is where we're gonna finish. It'll feel a lot harder now because you're tired, but you should feel stronger because all your muscles are awake, they're warm, they're ready for this. So challenge yourself to get past those little shakes and just keep breathing. Okay, so push your hands into your thighs, resist your thighs back into your hands, and see if you can really squeeze the inner thighs together. They're gonna wanna open here because that makes it easier. Once you're here, chest breath, look up towards where the wall meets the ceiling. Pretend someone has one strand of hair and they're pulling it up towards the wall and ceiling behind you. And then just broaden the chest. Keep pushing, keep resisting. It's okay if you're shaking. I am too. We're here for 4. And then we're done. 3, push a little bit harder. 2, inhale on 1. Exhale, come into a cobblers, let your knees fall to the side. Reach forward, drop your head. Take a big sigh here. Inhale, exhale. Good, one more like that. Inhale, exhale. Amazing. Slowly roll up. Bring your legs around, and so you can come onto your shins, and then just lift yourself up. Good. Give yourself a little noodle arm twist here. I love to do these at the end of my class. I know it feels silly, but it feels good. And then find stillness through center. You can either interlace your hands behind you or bring your hands to imaginary jean pockets behind you. Elbows squeeze together either way. Gentle press of your hips forward. Gaze lifts, hold right here. Not letting the head completely fall back, and try not to lean your hips behind your knees. Gentle press of the hips forward and then broaden through your chest. Breathe here for 3. Feeling that nice release on the front side of the body after all that work. 2. Inhale on 1. Exhale, release. Good, come into a quick child's pose. Bring your knees the width of your mat. Toes stay together, arms reach forward, and just melt. You wiggle your hips a little closer to your heels, allowing gravity to take over right here. You're not holding anything in your body. You're completely letting go. Take a full breath in here, get longer in your spine. Maybe walk the fingertips more forward. Exhale, get heavier in your hips. Release that extra tension. Good, and then slowly roll up. Head comes up last. Come back up onto your shins, but if this isn't comfortable, you can just cross your legs and sit normally. On your inhale, we'll reach up. Exhale, find your left wrist with your right hand and then find a nice big side body bend. You can drop your hips a little bit over to the left too. Maybe look up under your left arm. After that little side lying series, this should feel good. Inhale back through center. Relax the shoulders and then switch wrists. Exhale to the other side. Hips can shift too if you'd like. Look up under your arm. Big, big breath. Feel the space in between your right ribs getting bigger. And your right hip getting heavier, right shoulder getting heavier. Good, come back through center, release, hands down to your mat. We'll do a couple rounds of cat-cow and then you're all done. Inhale, drop your belly, lift your gaze. Exhale, round your spine, tuck your chin. Always taking a few minutes at the end of any workout to release. Allow your body to reset. Allow all that good energy you've just built in your body and your breath to kind of sink in. So you can take it with you off your mat. After your next round, just find your tabletop. Any last little bits of movement the body needs. Come back onto your shins. Take a few shoulder rolls, a few breaths, and you are all done. Thank you so much, as always, for moving with me. Please leave a comment if you just did this class. I would love to hear from you. And let me know if you need anything else. Hope you enjoyed my little kitchen sun spot. The sun. I think all those years of living in the basement has made me like so obsessed with the daylight because these windows are just dreamy. So if you can get some sunshine today, go outside, sit near a window, make the most of these little things that we can find joy in. So thank you for doing something good for your body and finding that little bit of joy in your mat. See you next time.